How often do you go to bed with noise in your mind, anxiety in your heart, and a sense that the day is over? Now imagine ending every evening peacefully, like an ancient sage, without fuss, without regret, with inner calm. In this video, we'll learn 5 Stoic evening practices that will help us not just disengage from the day, but reflect on it. This isn't just a philosophy, it's a ritual that brings peace before bed and clarity the next morning. I discovered this for myself when I was struggling to fall asleep, thinking about to-do lists, missed opportunities, and mistakes. Until one day, I came across a diary entry by Marcus Aurelius that turned my evening around. The big question is, what if those last 30 minutes of the day matter more than anything else? Stoic silence before bedtime. The first rule of Stoicism is to silence the noise before going to bed. Marcus Aurelius said, "Anything that disturbs your inner peace robs your soul." Therefore, it is important to turn off all sources of noise, such as bright screens and news feeds, before going to sleep. Give yourself at least 10 minutes of complete silence. This is like an antidote for mental overload, as it allows your mind to rest and your awareness to be born in silence. The daily ritual of reflection. Another Stoic practice is the evening inventory, which Seneca recommended. Every evening, ask yourself, what did I do well today? Where did I make mistakes? What can I improve upon? This reflection is not meant for self-criticism, but rather for clarity and self-improvement. Write down your answers, even if they are brief. This process helps to organize your thought and lighten your mind, like letting steam out of a pot. The practice of letting go, Epictetus said, "What does not depend on you should not bother you." In the evening, we should mentally recognize what we are not responsible for, such as other people's problems, external circumstances, and past words. We should say out loud, "It's not in my control, I'm letting it go," which works almost like meditation and helps us to close the day without dragging it to sleep. Stoics' gratitude. The Stoics were not just dry logicians. Seneca wrote letters filled with gratitude. Before going to bed, we should remember 3 things that we can be grateful for that day. Not in general terms, but specifically, like, I thank my colleague, I stood up when I wanted to lose my temper, or I saw a beautiful light at sunset. This teaches us to find meaning even in a seemingly gray day. Preparing for tomorrow's fight. By preparing ourselves for the next day's challenges, we can approach them with a more positive mindset and a sense of gratitude for what we have. Stoics are spiritual warriors. Their nights are not escapes, but preparations. The last thing they do is imagine what tomorrow could bring. They don't dream, they think, what could go wrong? How will they face difficulties? Who might annoy them? And how will they respond with dignity? This process is called premeditation of evils, anticipating difficulties. It makes tomorrow's stresses predictable, and thus less intense. An example of this is Marcus Aurelius, an emperor surrounded by intrigue, war, and betrayal, yet he wrote down this quote every evening: "Let your mind be a rock against which waves break." He wrote these words not for others, but for himself, as a way to stay sane in the midst of chaos. Another example is a modern one. You may not be an emperor, but you can be a manager, parent, student, or taxi driver. Each evening is your own inner empire, and if you don't take care of it, it can get caught up in anxiety. However, if you establish a routine, you become the master of it. One viewer wrote after watching the first video on Stoicism, "For the first time in a month, I slept without feeling heavy, not because of pills, but because of the simple practice of writing to myself." An evening can be an act of philosophical courage. Letting go of the day is not a weakness, but a strength. The Stoics taught that you are not immortal, and today was just a part of your life. To accept that you were the way you were is to gain strength for tomorrow. A small ritual, a bowl of water, an interesting technique inspired by ancient rituals is placing a bowl of water next to your bed. Take a sip of it before going to sleep as a sign of completion or a symbol of "I'm letting go of my worries." It can also be an anchor for your brain, as psychology confirms that even small actions gain power when they are repeated. How to turn this into a habit? Create an anchor. For example, turn on a nightlight or close your laptop. This will be the signal for starting your evening Stoic ritual. Make it take only 5 minutes, but make it consistent. Then your brain will automatically switch over. What not to do in the evening? Conflicts cannot be resolved. You cannot log into social media or start new projects. The evening is not a time for capturing the moment. It's time to reflect and return to your true self. The Stoics had the concept of oikeiosis, which means returning to one's original self. That is what tonight should be about. What if things are falling apart and you can't find peace? Sit down and write one phrase. "I have done my best. I will continue tomorrow." Sometimes just holding back the avalanche is enough. Stoicism is not armor, but rather a practice of constant inner honesty. Now you know that the evening is not just an end, but a time for reflection. The Stoics did not go to sleep like fugitives. They ended the day as thinkers. They did so with clarity, self-respect, and inner strength. Why not try one of these evening rituals today? Maybe start with a simple phrase such as, "I let go of what is beyond my control," or 3 words of gratitude. See how it feels. As Epictetus said, "It is not night that shelters us from the world. It is our choice to shelter our souls." If you find this approach appealing, be sure to check out the video 5 Stoic Habits to start your day with unbreakable calm. It continues. This practice and morning and evening become 2 sides of your calmness. See you soon.